Well, probably shouldn't make the video because if the viewer can't read this shirt, then what's the point? Well, can you read the shirt? What does it say? It says "Man of Rotation." This was a surprise. My family got the shirt for me for Christmas. I must have said something about my watch rotation, so I guess I'm the man of rotation. So I don't know. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a watch addict, and I think I'm reading Phil Stutz's book, Lessons for Living, for the third time. What I like about the book is that he takes things that I've always looked upon as a cause of shame, a cause of individual specific embarrassment. And he says, no, the problems watch addicts have, the problems you have, the problem I have, it's very universal. And he talks about this force we all have in us, a demonic force called partx. And its goal is to keep us addicted and hidden. And it's weird, Stutz, he says you essentially can live in two worlds. You can live in your higher or lower channel. And he says most of us live in the lower channel. We're just feeding on dopamine. And he says the religion of society is the religion of immediate gratification. Well, as a watch addict and as someone who couldn't wait for a watch to come, so he had to buy an appetizer watch, I have a few things to say about the religion of immediate gratification. Though I haven't done the appetizer watch thing in a long time. Because I'm evolving, I'm changing, right? And so Phil Stutz, he wants us to identify this partx in us. It's this demonic force that feels sorry for us all the time. Wants us to believe that we're entitled to self-pity. Life treats us unfairly. There's no hope. We're full of gloom and darkness. No light can penetrate through the dark clouds. There's no point in trying anymore. Just eat, drink, and be as merry as you can before your life passes. What else can I say about partx? It's very desirous, very addictive. It's full of desire. It's very bitter. It dwells on your pain. It's very angry because life's been unfair. And it's a demonic force. It doesn't want you to be creative, or it doesn't want you to express your true voice. It just wants you to be like the sheep. And what's interesting about Phil Stutz is he shows this to be universal. We all have it. And every day we have to fight partx. And we should be grateful that we can fight it. And you know what? I agree with him. I don't have a problem with 90% of what Phil Stutz writes. I guess the problem I have with some of it, and I'm going to show you this, I'm going to help you understand this. He does a lot of creative visualization. You imagine things. But I love him so much. I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna go with it, and I'm gonna show you some of my challenges with the creative visualization. But before I get to that, I do want to talk about how Phil Stutz tries to address addiction, because I am a watch addict, and pretty much you can look at addiction in terms of medicating your pain. Oh, pain, we can talk about pain. Medicating your anger, and then dealing with your temptations, with your desire. So let's talk about pain. We're not talking about physical pain. When I think of physical pain, I think of Wayne Resnick, KFI announcer in 1997. I heard him talk about the most excruciating pain you can experience is when you're opening your drawer, could be your desk drawer, your clothes drawer, and the web of flesh between your thumb and your forefinger, it gets trapped and it pinches it, and apparently that's very painful, very sensitive. I'm willing to take his word for it. I'm not going to go through a melange of painful experiences and then try to pick out the number one. I'll accept his claim that that's the most painful thing you can do. He may have done it himself, Wayne Resnick. I believe he announced his semi-retirement recently. I haven't listened to him in decades. Anyway, so that's physical pain. Now let's talk about the pain of addiction. The pain of addiction is a mental problem that manifests in physical pain. So in 1987, I'll give you an example. I had a friend named Gregor. Gregor, as we all knew, had a girlfriend who was bad for him. She was a bully, she was toxic, she was cruel, she was sadistic, but he was addicted to her. And he would break up with her, then get back with her, and break up with her. But here's what I want to tell you about this. When he was with her, he would have problems, physical problems. He would have ulcers. He would have stomach aches that were so bad he couldn't sleep. His skin would break out in eczema, psoriasis. I don't know the difference between those two, but he would just, the stress, in that yet he was addicted to her, and it was just awful. That was 1987. And then there's another kind of pain. I call it the pain of mental anguish. In 1992, I was at Avila Beach. I don't know if you guys know where Avila Beach is. It's up the coast here near San Luis Obispo. I was in the summer of 92. There was a very beautiful woman at the beach, all by herself, on her towel, reading a novel. Do I remember what novel it was? No. But she, very beautiful. She had her hair up in a bun, and all these guys were around, you know, kind of dealing with this beautiful woman reading her novel with her hair in a bun. You know, there were dudes playing frisbee and football. And then, it was so weird. It was one of the weirdest things I've ever seen in my life. The woman took her hairpin out of the bun in her hair, and her hair cascaded like Rapunzel down her shoulder. I mean, it was unbelievable. I never saw hair this long before. Very beautiful woman. It seemed like the whole world stopped. It seemed like planet Earth stopped rotating. And then the guys, they looked so pained. They looked like they all stepped on jellyfish. No, the pain was so great. Forget jellyfish. Let's upgrade this. Portuguese man-o-war. Let's upgrade it. I mean, they were just the pain of mental anguish. Desire can be so painful. I've seen guys pass out looking at an Omega Planet Ocean. Just, it's like Rapunzel, I tell you. Let me give you another example of stress pain. Ooh, this is me. This is 2016, 2017. I had it in me that I was going to sell my Seiko tuna. I don't know why. I was going to fund something else. I don't know. It's quartz. It's Hardlex crystal. This is one of my Hardlex crystal ones. I've had about half a dozen Hardlex crystal versions of the Seiko tuna. I no longer have those. I have the sapphire version now. Anyways, this is insane. Oh, God, I can't believe I'm telling you this. So I took these great photographs of the Seiko tuna around 2016. I had it on sale on eBay. So, you know, I checked to see if my ad looks good on eBay. I look at it, and the photos were amazing. It hurt. It hurt me so badly that I developed a prostate infection. It hurt, man. It developed a prostate infection. And so I'm not doing this, man. I took the tuna off the market, and then prostate infection went away. Oh, God, man. I think a guy, potential eBay buyer, I can't believe I'm telling you this. I should just go home right now. We need to just stop the tape right now. A guy contacted me. Was, hey, I was really looking forward to buying your Seiko tuna. What happened, man? Well, I mean, I got a prostate infection. I could have died, so had to take it off the market. But we can still be friends, right? I mean, we're both kindred spirits on our Seiko tuna journey. Yeah, right. I didn't say anything like that. I just said, I've made other plans with that watch. Yeah. Eventually, I did sell it. Oh, I sold it to my friend Carlos after I bought the Seiko tuna sapphire version. The sapphire version is not as loved in the watch community as the hardlex crystal version. I think because of the way they dome the hardlex, it gives a more dramatic look. I'm fine having the sapphire version though, the flatter crystal. Though Carlos, he sold the tuna that I sold. I either sold it to him or we traded or something. I don't remember. But now he regrets selling that Seiko tuna. And now he's in pain. So pain is a big part of addiction because we try to medicate our pain with addictive behavior. It never works. Throwing dopamine on the fire of pain. It might work briefly, but then the flames come back, man. We do it over and over again because we're insane. It's a bad move. So another thing that can feed our addiction is anger. Phil Stutz blows my mind on his chapter about anger. This is something I never thought about before. I mean, I consider myself a pretty angry person. My father was a pretty angry person. And a lot of comedians that I like are angry, like George Carlin, and I never thought of this before. And society's angry as a whole, really. And the managerial class tells us not to be angry, that it's not good form. But Phil Stutz said something. He said, anger actually can be your friend. It actually can be constructive. The problem isn't the anger so much; it's unprocessed anger. And wow, I never thought of that before. I mean, there's a way to process anger because Stutz says when a little child is 2 years old, anger is a sign that he's separating himself from his parents, which is a healthy thing. It's part of moving forward with your life. He also says something interesting about anger. Anger is it's your self-expression. It's your individuality trying to come out. I find that fascinating. One thing I would like to add about anger, and I'm not sure if he talks about this, but my experience tells me this. Anger helps you realize things that you're suppressing. Anger can be a truth teller. So what Stutz wants to talk about regarding anger is it's inevitable. You're going to be angry because life is unfair. You're always going to experience things that feel unfair. And he says you can't wait for life to be fair so you can stop being angry. Because if you do that, you'll be stuck. You'll be stuck in a maze of resentment and victimization. And I'm loving this chapter where he talks about anger. And he says if you're angry at someone, and by the way, we get angry at people all the time, but one of the things that he didn't talk about, but I want to share this with you, I think you'll be identify with it. We also get angry at ourselves when we do stupid stuff, or if we do this ongoing stupid stuff. And he said some things we need to do. There's a process. He says the first thing he says you need to do when you're angry to process it properly is just stop and focus on the rage. Focus on it at the exclusion of everything else. I mean, actually try to amp it up a bit. Actually try to feel how enraged you are. And yeah, I could do that. I mean, with a few people I'm thinking of right now, I could do that. I could even do it with myself. I piss myself off quite a bit. So the first thing you do, he says, is you want to stop what you're doing and just focus on why you're so pissed off, amp it up, and don't let any other thoughts come in. It's got to be a singular focus on the person you're pissed off at. I find that interesting. Then he says the second stage you're going to do is you're going to shut it down. You're going to shut it off, man. You're going to turn the spigot off. And what you're going to do is you're going to contemplate the fact that you're part of this infinite, vast universe and that you're inconsequential, that you're just nothing. And you're going to die, and your anger is meaningless. It's useless. You don't deserve to feel sorry for yourself. And one of the thoughts I had when I read that passage this morning about how inconsequential I am is last night I was reading. I tend to read on my laptop because my Kindle books, just on my 16-inch laptop screen, the images are bigger. It's easier on my eyes. And I just checked my YouTube homepage before I read my Kindle, and you know how it recommends stuff for you. Well, there was this guy, I never heard of him before. I can't think of his name right now, but he was saying goodbye. He was a herpetologist. He was 54 years old. He was saying his final goodbye. He looked sad, and could have been Brian something. I don't know, but I went into his YouTube page, and I saw that he had pancreatic cancer and that he died at the age of 54. And here's a guy with, like, I don't know, 5-6 million subscribers on his YouTube channel. He's successful. I'm 62. I mean, how insignificant I am. You know, there are like people just dying left and right. I mean, here's a dude who clearly made a huge impact in the YouTube community, the world, you know. He had a lot of subs, and he was very successful. Clearly he connected with lots of people. Just, you know, 54, that's long enough. That's what fate had for him. And so the second step of rage is to realize how inconsequential we are. I'm on board with that. I can do that. And then finally, he wants you to focus on the target of your rage, and imagine, whether you feel like this or not, imagine loving them freely. Just imagine loving them freely. He calls it active love. I could do that. I could imagine loving them freely to deal with my anger and to process my anger, and probably would have to do it with myself too. I get angry at myself. I can be pretty down on myself quite a bit. So no, Phil Stutz, I agree with you on that part as well. Now, he deals with pain, he deals with anger, and the part I struggled with the most was desire. So I understand the concept of desire. He gave an example of a very, very successful businessman. I think he was a photography editor or something. This businessman, extremely successful, but even though he was successful on the outside, professional, on the inside he was all chaos and all zero compulsion control. I mean, he was partying and overeating and over committing to his clients because he wanted them to love and approve of him so much. His life was chaos, and Stutz said he couldn't turn off his desire. He didn't know how to turn it off. He lived in the lower channel. He was essentially subscribing to society's religion of worshiping immediate gratification. And by the way, before I go on with this example, before I forget this, Stutz talked about, remember I was talking about processing anger? He talks about a guy he knew, the angriest guy he ever knew, who didn't lose his temper, but he smoldered with rage. He just constantly simmered with rage. Well, that guy died at the age of 45 from cancer 10 years later. So Stutz was convinced that all that festering rage could have those types of health effects on you. All right, back to this guy whose life is amazing on the outside, but it's chaos inside. Stutz says that, you know, we're all going to have these intense desires and these intense temptations, and God knows I do. I mean, it drives me nuts that I have an amazing watch collection, and it drives me nuts that I always want another watch. It kind of makes me angry, the truth. It drives me nuts. And the other thing, it just drives me nuts how over worried I get about watches. I love this MM300 soft strap because it's so comfortable on this SLA055. And, well, they don't make this soft strap anymore, as far as I know, because it belonged to a particular type of MM300 that they no longer make. So here I am. Should I go on eBay and buy like 45 of these so that I'll always have them so they don't run out? Who does that, man? Come on, dude. Anyways, desire. Here's where Phil Stutz wants you to use creative visualization. He says that when you're in the throes of desire and temptation, you need to imagine higher forces saving you from your intense desire. And what he says he does, he says he imagines these spiritual agents descending from heaven, coming down and bringing him back to heaven with him. And I do struggle with that, and I guess he knew I would, because he said, if this bothers you, to his credit, he says, if this bothers you, use a different image. So here I am, I'm trying to figure out, what kind of spiritual guardian could I imagine to help me when I'm in that moment of temptation. Could you imagine you're about to click on a $3,500 watch? Let me just, oh yes, that SLA071's only $2,400. That titanium Landmaster, that would be very nice. Yes. So this, you guys may laugh at this. If you're my age, you'll know what I'm talking about. So the first image that came to me when I thought of doing my own creative visualization was Racer X from Speed Racer. It's fascinating. Of all the images in my mind, here I am, I'm 62. If I was thinking of someone who represents spiritual strength, being my guardian, being someone to guide me when I'm in times of temptation or self-destruction, Racer X. Racer X is this masked man, a mysterious older brother who doesn't really socialize much. I'm so crazy. I think I checked images on him on Google to see if he wore a watch. I don't think he does. He just looks at his younger brother, Speed Racer, from a cliff, He's so powerful. And growing up, as a 10-year-old kid, Racer X. So Stutz wants you to visualize some sort of guardian, some sort of spiritual guardian in these times of temptation. And this person doesn't just accompany you in your times of temptation, but he accompanies you everywhere. So I guess Racer X is right here. He's with us now as I make this video. He's watching the video. What do you say, Racer X? Very good, McMahon. I like the topic. I think addressing addiction is very important in society. Discussing immediate gratification, pain, stress, anger, processing your anger and desire, all in the context of Phil Stutz and Watch Addiction. Very fruitful. You're bearing lots of fruit, McMahon. Keep going down this path. I'm sure you're going to be very successful. Well, thanks, Racer X. So anyways, I'm having problems with creative visualization stuff. I don't know if I can take it too seriously. I don't know. I want to, though, because I love Phil Stutz. And 2024, I still kind of want that Citizen Godzilla and that Citizen ProMaster GMT. But I'm not in a rush. So am I addicted? I don't know. But so that part, I'm struggling with the Racer X factor. So here's my question for you guys. If you had to imagine a guardian to follow you everywhere you went, would it be Racer X? Who would it be? I don't know. I'm 62, so my cultural reference points come from TV shows I watched in 1970, 1971. There's also a show on the Flintstones. There was a dude named Gazoo or something, but I don't even know if he was legit. I don't know. I have to go back and watch that one. All right, ladies and gentlemen, tell me what you think. We've covered way too much today. I got to get out of this joint. Until next time, I'm out.